Before we get started, a quick question. If the CRA selected your business for an audit tomorrow, do you know what it would cost you? Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
Hello, I'm Mario Toneguzzi, Managing Editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. My guest today on Calgary's podcast is Boris Lesar, who is the co-owner of Family Psychology Place in Calgary. Thanks for joining us today, Boris.
Thank you for having me this morning, Mario.
Okay, let me just give me, first of all, a rundown. What is Family Psychology Place and what do you guys do there?
Family Psychology Place is one of the larger clinics here in Calgary. We, not only in Calgary, but also in Western Canada, we provide comprehensive psychological services to people of all ages, from children all the way to, adults who are 99 years old, from 9 to 99, actually, from 9 months to 99, I would say. And what we do is we do everything in-house. So we provide assessments, trying to figure out what is the problem. And then when we are able to detect exactly what people are experiencing, then we offer treatment as well to kind of alleviate some of the suffering, pain, and symptoms that people are dealing with. That's us in a nutshell.
And when did you start here?
The clinic started in 2008, and so we've been around for quite some time, and we've grown to, having substantial not only experience, but we have clinicians who work with us who can address almost every possible mental health issue that is out there.
Can you maybe describe the background to how the business started and why it started?
Well, the psychologists have been around for a very long time, but traditionally they've been lone wolves, operating on their own. And so initially the conversations that were had was about how do we make sure that we pull together experience of multiple people and we bring brains together to actually work for the advancement of our clients. So that's what was done. So Dr. Marlis Kruger, who started the company, as I said, in 2008, made this genius leap forward. We are all here. Why not talk amongst ourselves, and why not work together to find out what the problem is, and then also how to help people.
Mm-hmm. Now let's talk about mental health. As a practitioner in that field, what have you noticed in the last couple of years that's been happening when it comes to mental health and the mental health of people in general?
That's an excellent question, right? There definitely seems that there is a spike in mental health issues. Coming out of COVID has left many people not only vulnerable, but has created significant gaps in service that was provided, significant gaps in how people related to each other. And now we have children who are in school, but, who kind of that early childhood, they grew up in COVID, and they're struggling to find meaning. We have adults who, when they look at current political and world situation, economic situations, they're struggling, so they're stressed. And so what happens then, they become anxious. They transmit that stress down to their children, and it's just a vicious cycle, right? Just they feed into each other. And people are finding that their expectations are higher, their resources are less available. Even our internal resources are being stretched. Parenting is not easy anymore. There are so many voices out there that contribute to trying to figure out who we are. And sometimes we take the shortcuts, whether that's through TikTok or Instagram, and we jump to conclusions. And there's people offering millions of sometimes advice that is good, sometimes not. But people are trying to latch on anything. So mental health is uh, becoming it's been a big deal, but it's becoming a much bigger deal, and it's going to be a much bigger deal in the future.
Hey, real quick, if you run a business in Canada, CRA audits are a reality. Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed by the CRA. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
What is it manifesting in? Like things like, what are the most predominant things that you see? Is it like anxiety and depression?
I would say there's lots of anxiety, there's lots of depression, there's lots of burnout at work. We're seeing more and more people experiencing burnout. There's a lot of stress just dealing with daily life, right? There's so many uncertainties. I mean, like you don't know what the gas price is going to be tomorrow, and if you have to drive to work, you are kind of wondering if you will be able to drive anywhere on the weekend, or will you have enough gas to drive to work by the end of the week? So we're seeing a lot of anxiety. We're seeing a lot of executive dysfunctioning, right? People having trouble organizing their lives, and sometimes that's an ADHD, but oftentimes it is just anxiety manifesting, or depression, or people are wondering like, what's the point of all this? Why am I working so hard? I have nothing left at the end of the day, right? And so I went to Costco with my wife on Saturday. And we noticed it was like absolute zoo. I mean, like Costco is always very busy, but it was an absolute zoo. And I was like, was there a payday on Friday? That's why, like, it's just incredible. And you could see, people are just, they walk around and you can feel they have this heavy burden on them. Yeah.
One of the things I'm curious about all this, because one of the things I've noticed, and maybe if you could talk about this, but I just get a sense there's a lot of people that are angry out there, and it manifests in so many different ways, right? It's and the impatience at waiting in line for something, or the quote, the road rage out there is the anger issues just like something that spawns out of some of the more inherent mental health issues that people have?
So you're right. There is a lot of anger that is present in our world. I think that people are a lot less likely to listen to one another.
Mm.
We become really entrenched in our camps, and sometimes people have to scream to get their point heard, and so that screaming comes out as anger, these angry outbursts. There's less time. We're just running like crazy everywhere, trying to get to the places, and we are very easily offended as well nowadays, right? And so our sensitivities are very high. And for better or worse, it does come out as anger. But, anger is not just anger itself. Anger always masks something, right? When we are worried, it's easier to be angry. Or if we're sad, it's easier to be angry than to show our sadness or depression. Or, when we're struggling with our parenting, it's easier to be angry than to kind of connect with our children or connect with one another. So, anger is it's an interesting beast, and you're right. There's so very, very many people walking around just with that deep-seated anger, but it comes oftentimes from something else.
Now, the other thing, Boris, and I'm curious from what you're seeing there at the family psychology place. What, in terms of mental health, what role is social media playing in all this? In both for children, young people, and then also just for regular folks like older folks like you and me, I guess.
It's a very good question, and I've been actually working on trying to kind of figure out myself what is actually happening here, because I do get people who come sometimes, and they're coming to seek a second opinion because they're diagnosed by TikTok or Instagram or something like that.
Yeah.
And so social media can be very good, but we know that just if you have a number of connections, it doesn't mean that you are connected with people.
Mm.
So it creates a disconnect, and what it does is clearly and quickly helps us establish our own identity. Mental health is much deeper than, just symptoms. And so, we as psychologists, we are tempted to go, well, you have 6 out of 9 symptoms of ADHD, so therefore it must be ADHD. And social media is going to tell you that, right? Do you have this? Yes. Do you have this? Yes.
Mm.
Do you have this? Yes. Great. You have anxiety. Off you go. And because, we are looking to explain ourselves, we're looking to understand ourselves, we're looking to kind of create our own identity. It's a very easy way to do that through social media. But the reality is that the world is much more complex, right? We're so much more complex. And I don't look at my clients as walking symptoms. I don't look at them as, because there's a lot of other things going on. So I can diagnose somebody with ADHD because they are disorganized, because they are struggling to start things, they are procrastinating, all those kinds of things. In reality, they might just be stressed to the limit because of what's going on at work.
Yeah.
But if I forgot that part, right, I will diagnose them and we're going to treat the wrong problem and off they go, right? And it's not going to help.
Tell me, what the consequences are of untreated mental health issues. What and the consequences, A, for the individual, and then B, actually for the greater, society beyond that individual.
Oh, absolutely. So beyond, the living of a happy, fulfilled life, right? And I'm not advocating that we all have to be happy all the time. We can't. Our brains would explode if we were to be happy all the time. We have to experience sadness sometimes. But
Mm.
what I meant is kind of that wholesome whole life that we lose when we don't treat mental health. And that it spreads down to our children. It can spread up to parents. The classrooms are being disrupted. The teachers are struggling. At workplace, people can't perform as much as they could. Then the companies are struggling. There's a tremendous economic loss
Yeah.
in our country due to untreated mental health. Inevitably, you know, it's going to come out as some physical ailment at some point, whether it's insomnia or develop some kind of gastrointestinal issues or diabetes or something is going to pop up, and so then we have to treat that. As our medical health system is going to have huge costs associated with untreated mental health as well, because we're mind and body are connected. It's not two separate things, and they impact one another. So.
All right, let's get back to it. This episode of Canada's Entrepreneur is sponsored by Audit Shield. Here's something most business owners don't think about until it happens: a CRA audit. Those professional fees can quickly add up, even for a straightforward review. Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed by the CRA. It's a service that's been around for 10 years in the Canadian market, offered throughout participating accounting firms, designated to protect businesses from the unexpected cost of CRA reviews. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield, or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
So what when you look at overall, and obviously you're based in Calgary and Alberta, so we'll ask this question regarding this geographic area. But do we have enough resources in place to deal with this growing issue? Doesn't seem to be slowing down in any way. There's more and more people that are having issues, right?
Yes and no. There are resources available, but resources are often not available to people in rural communities.
Mm.
Now, through modern communication and stuff, it's becoming easier to kind of access therapists. It's becoming easier to kind of come up with that. And it took a long time to remove GST from therapy, for example. It was just done in the last couple of years by
Wow.
federal government, which is incredible that you would have to pay GST on
Yeah.
mental health services provided by psychotherapists, or something like that. It's crazy to me. Um, and then oftentimes resources that are out there, some are very, very stretched, right? They're not available to everybody. If during COVID, the hospitals could not take in patients,
Yeah.
and so a lot of people who develop an eating disorder or something like that could not be treated properly. And so then there was huge, huge wait lists, and just like anything in medical care, right? So resources are available, but they're not available at the levels that we need. We definitely need much more. We need much more in schools. And, I understand we're limited in how much money is out there.
Mm.
So we'll have to come up with some creative ways to provide these resources to people.
All right. Let's talk a little bit about yourself, Boris.
Sure.
Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born and raised in Croatia, which was actually Yugoslavia at the time, in the early 70s. And I grew up, in that transition period, particularly high school, away from communism into free market economy.
Mm.
And, as soon as I finished high school, the wonderful, war started in Yugoslavia. So we had to deal with that. And so, I worked there for a while with aid agencies, distributing some aid and helping people and listening to them. And then I came to Canada in 1993 to study, which I did. And I was here for about 6 or 7 years. I did all kinds of jobs on the side. Like I worked, on a farm for a long time, just as a farmhand and stuff like that. And then I went back to Europe in 2000 to work with young people and agencies that work with young people in that whole region. In not only in Croatia but Eastern Europe, Middle East, North Africa, Central Asia, that kind of place. And then I came back to Canada in 2010, and I've been here since then, so 16 years. I worked with different agencies. I worked with the homeless serving agency in Calgary for quite a few years. And then right when COVID started, I lost my job, which was great. And worked for another agency just briefly that just could not make it through the COVID. And that agency was helping children with disabilities, particularly autism. And I felt so bad about it. So I called a buddy of mine who lives down the street, and I said, I can't see these, families be without supports. We're talking about 175 families here.
Mm.
So I said, I need some help. I want to start this business. And we started a business 2 weeks later. It's called Elevated Ability. So that's another company that I own as well. And we've been around now for 5 years, helping over 200 families here in southern Alberta with the services around autism. And then I became a co-owner of Family Psychology Place here as well a couple of years ago, just because I love what I do, and I think there's so many ways that we can do things better. We can definitely help more people. So I love that kind of stuff where I can just create things and move things along.
Before we wrap up, thanks to Audit Shield for supporting this episode. CRA audits are a reality to Canadian businesses, and the professional fees to respond can come as an unwelcome surprise. Audit Shield covers your accountant's professional fees if your business is audited or reviewed by the CRA. Ask your CPA if they offer Audit Shield, or visit auditshieldconnect.ca to check.
Tell me, and you're obviously, your experience has shown this, but also, in your practice there, we use the word resilient a lot. Uh, Tell me how important in dealing with everything, no matter what it is, resilience is. How important is resilience, and how does one get resilience? Is it something you're born with? Is there something that you can go into?
But that's one of the things that's been researched for a very, very long time, and resilience is it's an interesting thing because it's kind of like that elephant and four blind people around it, and they're all trying to describe it, right? One touches the trunk and says, well, that's what the elephant looks like. The other one touches the leg, the one holds it by a tail, right? So what is resilience? Well, in a nutshell, it's like bouncing back, right? It's trying to bounce back every time the life kind of knocks you down. But it's much more than that, right? It's probably a little bit of grit. It's probably a little bit of perseverance. It's probably a little bit of audacity. It's a little bit of cheekiness, kind of. It's all of that, but it's also patience, I think, and that's what sometimes is missing from the definition. You have to be patient. You can't have everything right now, and so uh, can we get better at resilience? Yes, but we do need a lot of help, right? We need people to give us a hand. We need people to help us along. We need sometimes people to kind of push us a little bit, right? In Croatia, we have two different words for a shepherd. One is the shepherd that goes up ahead and kind of leads the sheep, and they follow him. And then the other word it's a shepherd again, but he goes behind and he has a stick and he's chasing the sheep to go over where
Oh
he
yeah,
wants them to go.
yeah.
So sometimes, we need a little bit of a push. Sometimes we need a little bit of a pull to kind of develop our resilience. But I think, it all starts in home environment, where, people feel connected. They feel there's trust. They feel that they can fall back if they need to in a safe place that is safe to land. And they need to have that, and we can definitely build resilience. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks so much, Boris, for joining us today.
Absolutely. Thanks, Mario.
Okay, that was Boris Lesar, who is Family Psychology Place co-owner in Calgary. I'm Mario Toneguzzi, managing editor of Canada's Entrepreneur. Thanks for joining us today.